Are You Really Going to Eat That? Podcast episode 141. Hey there, I'm your host Wendy Hill and I'm a naturopathic nutritional therapist and expert in female hormone health. I specialise in helping women gain confidence and understand their bodies, allowing them to shine. I'm a huge foodie and this podcast allows me to bring you an eclectic mixture of guests where food and health is our uniting passion. So I'm delighted to welcome Cathy Davis today. So Cathy, please introduce yourself to the listeners and kind of tell them what you're here to talk about today.
Awesome. Hello, Wendy. I'm super excited to be here. My name's Cathy Davis. I'm a plant-based lifestyle coach, and I really, I set out on a mission to inspire people to eat more plants. So I'm thrilled to be here and share with all of you a little bit about plant-based.
Love it. And you know that I am the same. I always encourage people to eat more plants. So I think what I'd like to understand, I've got two questions for you. We're going to go with the first one, and you might end up answering that one, is just how long have you been plant-based?
Yes, I always tell people, so I have started eating plant-based about 8.5 years ago, but to be honest, I was extremely resistant to this way of eating. My husband was the star of the show. He loved cooking and he wanted to explore plant-based eating. And I was like, listen, honey, you're great, but I'm not giving up burgers, blue cheese dressing, chicken wings, all the standard American fare. And he led by example. I always tell people in my community, so those of you listening, cook with familiar foods. He made sauces out of cashews. He made lots of different taco fillings. So I felt like I was getting all the foods I loved, but they were all plant-based. And so about 6 months into eating that way and exploring these amazing recipes and meals, I accepted it as an idea and I went fully vegan. So I changed not just the way I ate, but also the way I interacted with products based on, if they were tested on animals. I changed, if I used or went to events where animals were used for entertainment. Like I really went all in. That was 8 years ago. 2.5 years ago, I realized that I had fallen into the vegan junk food wagon. And I knew that I needed to change and really steer my diet back towards a clean, whole food, mostly unprocessed way of eating. And with that, I saw incredible benefits. My skin cleared up, likely from reducing all the processed foods. I lost over 40 pounds, again, reducing all the oils and the processed foods and really just eating more whole, clean foods and lots of veggies and fruits. And so I'm a real advocate for this way of eating, just in what it can do for your life overall.
Thank you, because you did answer one of the questions that I was going to ask, which is kind of, what is the difference between vegan and plant-based? Because I think people get very confused with this. And, it's really important. I think you've obviously been on that journey. It's important to say that just because you are vegan doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be a healthy diet, which is obviously kind of where you went. And do you think that because it should be a positive that we have more vegan alternatives, meat-free alternatives? It should be a positive. Actually, do you think the more meat-free alternatives we get, the more danger is that we're just swapping one unhealthy diet for another?
I do. And I enter into this conversation with as much love for the vegan manufacturing companies and the companies that are manufacturing these vegan products, because I know the power of these alternatives to help people eat less animal products. But eating a processed vegan burger with unidentifiable ingredients isn't healthy. There are some amazing products on the market that really do grasp the concept of this whole food and utilizing minimally processed ingredients for their products, but not a lot of them. And unfortunately, the term plant-based, made with plants, whole food, whole grain has been hijacked by marketing. And I have clients all the time that'll say, oh, I bought this amazing product. It says made with plants on the front, and they flip it over and it has eggs in it. And like they've reduced eggs because of the inflammation or the cholesterol amount, or, you know, they'll buy something and they're like, it says plant-based. And I'm like, yeah, but look at oil is the second ingredient.
Yeah.
And
Or
they're trying to
sugar.
eat, or sugar, right? All these super processed things. I always tell people like there are, and in America, and maybe where you are as well, like there's the difference between a granola bar where you can see the nuts and the dried fruit and the seeds might have honey. That's not necessarily vegan, but you know what those ingredients are, versus those granola bars that are like whole wheat enriched flour, brown rice syrup. That's another name for sugar. And fruit puree with more sugar. Like you can look at the two granola bars when they're out of the package and you can see the difference. And I always tell people like lean towards those whole products where you recognize the ingredients, you know what they are, you know what an almond is, like just really, really lean into those more whole food options.
Yeah, totally. That was exactly the example I was going to use, was with kind of the granola bars. And this is kind of the problem I'm doing the inverted comma, the issue is the food industry. It's their job to make food that we're going to eat. And so if there are more and more vegans out there, then it's their job then to make food that is going to be attractive to that whole sort of change in dietary needs. So, you know, we all got on that whole healthy kind of diet, you know, healthy diet. So my husband does it all the time, bless him. He'll go and buy some breakfast bars or something, or some snack bars for when he likes, when he plays golf. He likes to have some kind of a mid golf fuel, and I'm like, don't put that in, like really horrible. I'm like, don't put that in my cupboard. I'm not eating that. You can leave that in your golf bag. And he's like, why? You know, like, well, because look at all the horrible ingredients in there. And he's like, but it's got a strawberry. He's picked it because it's got a strawberry on the front and an almond on the front. So he immediately thinks it's going to be really healthy. And I think this is the problem that we are now getting with that, you know, plant-based is, friends of mine are coming back and going, oh, you know, well, I bought vegan burgers the other day. And I'm like, yeah, but did you actually have any more vegetables on your plate? Or did you just have chips and white processed bread and some mayonnaise, which probably isn't even vegan anyway, and a vegan burger instead of a meat burger, and suddenly think that you've made that meal healthy?
And that's really the detriment, right? Because we're slapping labels like made with plants or vegan on something, and we immediately think it's healthy. And I mean, I do not preach perfectionism. I do think there's a time for a veggie burger and maybe some fries,
Yes.
but I really opt for the cleanest option. So it goes back to, you know, those veggie burgers. I'm going to pick the one with the familiar ingredients that I read. I'm going to pick the granola bar or the trail mix, right? That has the physical nut. That's not to say I never eat processed, right? I love nut butter, but I'm going to pick the nut butters that's nuts, like processed ground nuts, not the one that has added oil and added sugar and salt and who knows what other some of those, you know, emulsifiers and other things are. Just eat the nut, right? Like, so it's not that things can't be processed beyond what they are, right? Like a peanut ground into peanut butter, an almond ground into almond butter, or even almond milk. But what are the other ingredients in that product? And that's really where it comes down to, you know, being aware, looking at your ingredients, and really understanding the difference between like whole food eating, clean eating versus just eating vegan. And there's a place for both, right? I love my vegans. They're amazing. They're out here for the animals, but that doesn't necessarily mean that their diet of, you know, vegan cookies and vegan chips and vegan pizza and vegan burgers is necessarily any healthier than a standard American diet or standard fare.
It's been brilliant. I am just going to do my very quick fire round before we go. So a very quick one. So jeans or dresses?
Jeans.
Cashews or almonds?
Cashews.
Oh, me too. Beer or cocktail?
Beer.
Me too. I'd like a cocktail, but beer over one. Summer or winter?
Summer. I chase flip-flop weather in this RV.
Ah, do you? Is that one of the kind of, but I bet it's got an amazing heating system as well. But that's one of the reasons why I want to kind of travel the more. Is I love the UK, but even kind of, we're recording this at end of April and I've got a jumper on and a vest underneath it because it's It's cold. I just want sunshine, not roasting sunshine, but kind of flip-flops is definitely my kind of weather.
Yep. I chase flip-flop weather. So we winter in the southern states and we summer in the northern states.
Yeah, you've got the life. I love this. Perfect. Thank you so much. I have really enjoyed today. I think, I can't wait to try out some of your recipes. So I will tag you as well. But thank you so much. And we will put a link to everything in the show notes. So enjoy the rest of your day.
Thanks. You too. Thanks for having me, Wendy. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for watching this excerpt of this week's Are You Really Going to Eat That podcast? If you'd like to listen to the full episode, then the link is in the notes below.